Tikkun Olam Belize is a non-governmental organization working for the rights of sex workers, commonly referred to as prostitutes. According to the executive director, Elisa Castellanos, her organization is lobbying for the right of these sex workers. Hipólito Novello has that story.
Elisa Castellanos is the creator and executive director of Tikkun Olam Belize, a non-governmental organization formed a few years ago. Castellanos works with female sex workers. A sex worker is a person who engages in sexual activities for payment. Castellanos is lobbying to have the rights of these sex workers, 18 years and older, respected by the proper authorities.
Many women choose autonomously to do sex work in order to provide for their families, to provide for themselves, whether that be maintaining yourself or going to school. You know, there's a lot of women in the country who are benefiting from sex work. However, the way the law is, it's really underground, where women are doing sex work in very clandestine situations, such as, you know, not having a body where they can report violations. There's not a mechanism to report violations of sex work that sex workers go through, especially in the bars and the brothels. But I think if you approach a situation with peace, love, and a good strategy, you're able to really get people to understand at the end of the day, we're not asking for anything extra. We're just asking for the right to make a living, to be able to support ourselves. And we are citizens of the country, we're voters of the country, we pay taxes just like everybody else. And I think that entitles us as human beings, as Belizeans, as citizens of the world, access to basic human rights. But when you find yourself in a situation where sex work happens to be the only viable income that you can make money from, and you also have a balanced decision to say, well, this is what I will do to make ends meet for my family, then I think that we shouldn't stigmatize it. You know, everybody, and the reason that sex workers are in sex work is to make a better life for their children. And sometimes that might be that the children will grow up to be a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a priest, a nun, or a sex worker.
And while there's no huge brothel sign posted at the entrance of all the bars across the country, it is a known fact that in many of these bars, women, mostly comprised of undocumented migrants from other Central American countries, sell sex to stay a bit longer in Belize before being deported by authorities. Some are forced to do so. It is with that in mind that Tikkun Olam Belize works closely with relevant authorities to free victims of human trafficking.
A unique factor in Belize is that sex work, autonomous sex work, happens alongside in the same environment as trafficking. And so as an organization, we go out into the bars and brothels. We differentiate between who's an autonomous sex worker, who's there because she wants to, of her own free will and volition and choice, and who's there as a victim. Now, we don't often come across victims of trafficking, but when we do a referral system with the government where we send them over to either human development or the police department, and we've created a rapport with the police department where we're able to help them by referring these cases.
These cases are primarily found when Castellanos and her team conduct outreach educational programs.
In Orange Walk particularly, we do bar and brothel outreach education, where we go out into the bars and the brothels and provide information on sexual health, personal and economic empowerment sessions, education sessions, and also on human rights education. And so those are the programs that the organization focuses on in really providing education to sex workers out there.
To the public, they're known as prostitutes. You know, they're known as these women who commit unpurity acts in the darkness. How do you move from that stigma?
Well, I think the first step is education. And having people, we want people to understand that sex workers, first of all, we're humans, just like everybody else. We're mothers, we're sisters, we're neighbors, we're friends. And we have the same needs, we have the same human rights as everybody else. And really and truly, we're not asking for any privileges. We're really and truly just asking for the right to choose the kind of work that we do, whether that be to provide for our families, to provide a better opportunity for ourselves, and then and in so doing, become better citizens of the country.
And in the long run, Tikkun Olam Belize will ask the leaders of this country to take it a step further.
The legal term is prostitution, but if we want to be polite, we say sex work. prostitution in Belize is legal. What is illegal is bar and brothel ownership and pimping and solicitation. So it's really unclear the way the law stands right now, and we're looking to unify the population of sex workers across Belize. The end goal and the vision and the mission of the organization is the decriminalization of sex work in Belize in an eventual future.
Reporting for Love News, I am Hipólito Novello.